We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. My guest is an herbalist from Germany, Maria Holl, who has a brand new book published by Basic Health on tinnitus and problems with hearing. Maria, welcome to Here's to Your Health.
Yes, thank you.
My pleasure. Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Yes, Maria Holl.
Very nice. So in Europe, in Germany, what is your title? What is your position in Germany?
I be a social worker.
Oh, I see.
And I be a psychotherapist.
I see.
I run a practice as a psychotherapist, specialized for tinnitus, sudden hearing loss, dizziness, and hyperacusis.
What was the last one?
Hyperacusis. You listen everything very loud.
Oh, I see. And what prompted you to write this book on hearing loss?
Oh, in Germany, we have lots of people, they have tinnitus. And it's very hard to get a treatment to get it off. You can't find a special therapy to help them. And after 18 years, a medical doctor, an ENT doctor, asked me to do a therapeutic thing for them to help his patients. He get 8 and 10 new patients a day. They have all this ear disease. He cannot help. He want a help and an easy help therapy. We do it first in workshops, and we see in the first workshop the people get rid of the sounds, they get rid of her sleepingless, I pronounce it right?
I think so, yes.
Yes, they get rid of her fear and the depression, and they need to do not so much. They really do 15 minutes, 10 and 5 minutes a day, this exercise.
I see.
And we find it so wonderful that we try to find a research person. They do research about it, and we have research that 83% get rid of his sounds and this other disease. It's
well, that's remarkable. And so my first question is, can you please give my listening audience a definition of tinnitus?
Tinnitus is an ear sound, and you don't have something in the world that makes a sound. The ear sound starts only in your head. Everything is quite silent, and you hear sounds. And it can be ringing, it can be and it can be very loud as a traffic sounds. And nothing is happening. You are really in a quiet room. Mm-hmm. And the people, they cannot shut it up. It hurts them very well.
And so now, based on your research, and of course you have this new book, what is the origin of the problem? Well, what are the causes of this tinnitus?
Please take another word for causes.
Why does it happen to people? Why do people get ringing in the ears?
Okay. It's a stress phenomenon.
Stress.
Yes, if you do so much, if your business run too hard, and mostly people, they think too much.
I see.
Yes, they don't feel them. They only think about all the things, and normally they think the things around again and again and again. And if you have too much work or too much things in your family or with your friends, you try to find a way going out, but normally it doesn't help. You really need to feel how you are and get back to yourself.
I see. And when did you start doing research on this subject?
We have a big research in the last 2 years from the university in Regensburg, and we do some research 6 years before. First, we research workshops, and we have a group. They don't do this exercise, and we look which group is better. And the group, they do the exercise, they start to have benefit 6 weeks later.
I see. And what was the age group and what was the gender of the group?
The gender?
Male or female?
Both.
And what was the age group?
Everything. From 20 to 62.
And okay, so would you like to tell us some of the exercises that you have found beneficial?
Yes. The people, they think they have something in the ear. It's not the ear, it's the problem starts in the brain.
All right.
Yes, and get your brain release. It's very important you feel the whole body. And the first exercise is a little exercise. You move your feet. And you give the feet a little massage on the floor. Some of the people, they have tinnitus, they are very cold. It can be hot, but they have cold fingers and they have cold feet. And now they move the feet and the fingers and give them a gentle massage, then the body starts to be warm.
I see.
And if you are cold, you have more stress than you are warm.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. And how did you determine? Okay, so that's one exercise.
Yes.
So what? We move the feet clockwise. Is that it? And how do we move the feet? Is that it?
Yes, but it's not important to do it clockwise or you do it up and down. Only move them and move the toes and press the feet down to the floor and feel your whole feet. It's very important to feel them. Don't do it without thinking for the feet.
I see.
Yes, and also we do some gentle gymnastic to lose tension. You move the body like you dance gentle.
All right.
It's really a lovely exercise to lose tension.
Well, okay, that sounds simple and doable. And what else has your group come up with? What else do you do?
Yes, I do a lot of exercise you can do in the elevator, or you can do if the traffic stops. Mm-hmm. Yes, you are in the country, sometimes the traffic stops very hardly. Yes,
it happens here in Los Angeles.
Yes, it happened me too this morning. Right. And we are very proud that we come
on time.
On time,
right, exactly right.
Yes. We are very proud about this. What is important, the important thing is that you get feeling in your body back. And if you sit in the car, you feel how it's a feeling from, what do you call this? The chair in the car. Yes. And how do you feel? Is the chair warm or is it cold? Is it warm in my backside or is it cold in my backside? Or how I feel the chair on my legs. Is the chair hard? Is the chair soft? And then I start to go out of the thinking, oh, I came early enough. The traffic goes as the traffic go. I
Right.
cannot do anything that it go faster. And if I find the feelings in my back, I lost this thinking about the traffic. And then I be in my body, and this starts to be healthy. Not to think about the traffic.
Yes.
It doesn't help.
Right. Right.
This
Well-
is a simple this is an exercise for the car.
And that seems like a good exercise. Now, when you had patients come to you with ringing in the ears, was there any discussion of lifestyle, that is, what they're eating that might contribute to ringing in the ears?
We ask them for lifestyle. And what is important for people that have ear problems, if they need to go for a walk 30 minutes a day. It's not important where they go. They can go around the block and do it very easy where he live or where I live. Yes. And what is too important to ask them, he can sleep, and it's important to know how the ringing is in the evening or in the morning. It is in the evening very strong, and in the morning is it better, or in the evening fine, in the morning it's better. In the morning it's harder.
I see.
Yes, they get other exercise. And if they have in the morning less sounds, it's really good to do this exercise and follow the CD and go to people that give them gentle massage too. Yes. And if they have more ringing in the morning, it's really important to do the exercise and to do walking. In your country, it's not so familiar to walk. I come from Germany. We like to walk.
No, in Germany, they walk. In Los Angeles, you don't walk.
Yes.
It's not fashionable to
Yes.
walk unless you're going hiking. Then it's fashionable.
Yes.
But to walk around in
Yes.
L.A., it's not what we do. It's
Yes.
unfortunate.
Yes. But it's important not to hike and do things fast, to do things slow. Really go for a slow walk around the block or in the park or something
Now,
like
now
this.
walking obviously would improve circulation.
Yes.
Has there been any discussion with the patients that by using too much processed sugar and causing hardening of the arteries, that the processed sugar in some people might contribute to problems with the hearing?
It's so. Sugar do that the energy goes high. It's not good for this disease.
Right.
Yes, it's not good. You need to eat more things that give the energy down.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So in other words, do you advise your clients to eat less soda, less cake, less candy, less sugar? Is that part of the protocol?
If they really eat a lot of them, I say it. If they eat some of them, I don't say it.
Right.
But people, they eat a lot of them. It's not good for the health, and you don't go healthier if you eat so much sugar.
Right. And also, do some of the people have problems with ringing in the ears because of jobs they have where they hear loud sounds and that causes problems with the ringing in the ear?
If they have a loud job, it's another problem.
It's another problem.
It's another problem. It can be together, but normally they know they have a loud job. It needs to come together with stress.
I see.
People have 30 years loud jobs. It's normal for them. But if they get stressed too, they have it really hard with that loud job.
I see. I see. And So you are in Germany. You are a social worker,
In Germany, I be a social worker and I be a psychotherapist.
psychotherapist too.
Yeah, as work for this thing as a psychotherapist or a therapist.
So you studied the work of Freud and Jung.
Yes,
and
yes,
that is
yes.
what brought you to this position. This is how you see the emotional component.
Yes, and I be trained by a special psychotherapy, bioenergetic analysis from Alexander Lowen. It's developed in the States. It's a analytic therapy with a body approach.
And what was the name of the author again?
Alexander Lowen.
Alexander Lowen. I see.
Lowen.
And what's the name of the therapy? Let me have that once again. The therapy.
Yes.
Alexander Lowen.
Bioenergetic analysis.
And they do what exactly? I never heard that term, so what does that do?
Yes, you have a lot of psychotherapists in this state. Yes. And they speak with you about the things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have people, there is depression, they to him, go for a walk.
Right. That actually turns out to be good advice. Actually, it's surprisingly simple, but
Yes.
surprisingly it's good advice. It's
Yes.
good advice, right.
Simple things help mostly.
And they're simple after you know them. It's
Yes.
always simple after you know.
Yes.
So if you talked about the exercise of walking, obviously we can do that, the exercise of massaging the hands and feet,
Yes.
what else can we do to help us with ringing in the ear?
It's very important is breathing. Yes. And you really learn to breathe in your pelvis.
Huh?
Yes. And not to breathe in your chest. And then you breathe out to your feet. It's very relaxing. And if people, they have it combined with sleeping disease or depression, it really had to get rid of it. Yes, you lie down the hand on your pelvis, breathe in, and the pelvis needs to start bigger. And if you breathe out, he go more or less. Yes, and then you breathe out to the feet.
I see.
If you breathe out to the feet, especially in a stress situation, the stress go down. Slightly it goes down. Yes, it's a breathing exercise. You get lot of tension go away.
Through breath work.
Yes, through the breath work. Yes.
Well, this all sounds like, from my perspective, very good ideas. These just sound like good ideas. Has there been any resistance to your suggestions?
Oh, the people that come, they really hurt much by the tinnitus.
Yes,
Yes. And most of them, they really do what I say.
I see.
Yes. And this therapeutic work is also has a combination to Chinese medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And we trained the people gentle massage on the meridians,
Aha.
on the ways why the energy, the chi is flowing.
Okay, now, excuse me. For my listeners, please tell me, what are meridians?
The most important meridian is the gallbladder meridian. Yes, this is where we work first. Yes, most of those people are afraid of something.
Excuse me, but Maria, what is a meridian?
Yes.
No, what is one? A meridian. Explain it.
Gallbladder meridian.
Yes,
What is a meridian?
Yes, what's a meridian?
Okay,
Right, okay.
good. The energy, the Chinese people say the energy flows in lines. Yes, and every inner organ have such a line. Yes, like a little river.
Like a river, yes. Mhm.
Yes, a little river. And this little river is named as this organ. And we call one from this little river, we call it meridian.
Mm-hmm.
And we work on the gallbladder. If we have a lot of stress, we be angry about this stress.
Yes,
And this hurts the gall.
I see.
Yes. We say it in Germany.
All right, well, obviously, you're talking about acupuncture, like the meridians of the body are energy channels, energy flows through the body.
Energy channels, yes. And the people, we don't do acupuncture, we train the people to do gentle acupressure by themselves.
I see.
Yes, and you also can do it in the car. You can press your arm gently and do it.
I see. And how do my listeners work on their gallbladder meridian? Where is it?
The gallbladder meridian
Yes.
is, I don't know, it goes up on this side.
Oh, it's on your leg.
It's on your leg.
Okay, very good.
It goes from the hip to the leg to the foot.
Because some of my listeners are hearing this on radio, so they need to. Okay.
Yes, you go on the leg.
I see.
On the hip to the foot.
So in
On
other
the outside, really, what do you call this? The knot? What do you say?
I'm
to
sorry,
this?
I don't really know what that's called. I apologize. I do not
Yes,
know.
okay, the outside.
But
In
on
the
the
middle,
leg,
on the outside.
middle on the outside, and it's an acupuncture meridian, and by massaging it,
Yes.
we can help the gallbladder
Yes.
handle fats better. Is that it?
Yes, they handle fats better. They start to be alive. They start to normalize her function. And then it goes some things better, more things than tinnitus. The digestion start to be better. The feelings, inner feelings start to be better. If the digestion fine, you feel good.
Yes.
Yes, it's
Yes.
a very important thing.
All right. So now we've added another step, the acupressure point for the gallbladder meridian. What other therapy have you worked out?
What other therapy? What we also train the people to say no. The tinnitus and all the ear, all the people that have ear thing, to like to say in many situations yes. You cannot say yes if you have too much work. You need to say no. But they are afraid of a lot of things
Well,
today.
they don't want to be unemployed. It's a little joke there. Okay. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
this is what they are afraid. But if you want to be a big boss, you want to say no if it's right to say no. Yes, they are afraid to be not employed if they no.
Right.
Yes, but it's all the things going up in the head. We cannot be a whole country wouldn't be unemployed when someone say no.
I see. Okay. Well, maybe they're more progressive in Germany. So I do have one question for you. Now, these ideas that you're mentioning, which to me sound like they have merit, has there been any group of medical people who is opposed to these ideas? Does anyone think your ideas are not good?
Oh, it depends. We have people that help us. They are ENT doctors,
Yes.
and they send us their patients. A lot of psychiatrists send us her patients. If you don't get rid of the tones, some people go to the psychiatrist, yes, and they send us patients. And some people, for them, it's a really new therapeutic work. You need to be familiar to this.
Yes.
We do a lot of work in Germany. We write books. I write books. I write newsletters. I write in newspapers. And a new therapy to be known from the people. We don't have really people, they don't want it.
I see.
They have so much pain. The patient have so much pain with this tinnitus. The most want that get some help him. We don't have pills for this. You can't go rid of stress with pills.
Right. And so now, you... is your work paid for on the patients by the German government? Does the government medical service pay for this?
Some.
Okay, so they pay for some. So
No. Some, we have a lot of insurance for health, And some insurance pay for my therapy, not all.
And is there pushback because you're trying to move away from medication? Obviously, there's a lot of money in medication, and the medication guys who sell medication wouldn't want you doing acupuncture or taking a walk. There's no money there for them.
Oh, it's for taking a walk. It's no money there.
No, yes, exactly what I'm saying is, while the therapy might work, have any of the pharmaceutical companies been unhappy with your ideas?
No.
No, really?
They don't have pills.
I see.
They have to do. They do in the past a lot of research, and nothing coming out.
I see.
They don't do research. You haven't a pill. I heard nobody if the people get rid of them by walking.
All right. Well, that seems very fair. I just wanted to ask if there was any pushback.
No.
Maria, your book came out on Basic Health.
Yes.
Just what? Only a couple of weeks ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe a month ago.
And
yes.
where can I buy your book?
You can buy the book by Amazon.
Amazon the best.
Yes, I think so. Amazon is the best, and you also can have a download from this CD by Amazon.
What's the CD?
It's a CD.
Oh, the Tinnitus Alleviation. I see. That is a
It's
CD.
also Tinnitus Alleviation Therapy. You can buy a download by Amazon, or you can get the CD by CD Baby.
All right.
Yes, they give it to you. And if the people like to do more with me, we have, they can find us as tinnitus-elevation.com.
Tinnitus.elevation?
Tinnitus-line.
elevation.com.
Yes, I do some workshops, especially. Yes, they can look at it and see what I do.
That sounds very good. Maria Holl, thank you for being a guest today on Here's to Your Health. It was fun. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you too.
Thank you. You've been listening to Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live television network. I'm your host, Josh Lane. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.
The American Heart Association's Heart Walk is coming. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring your coworkers. Help yourself and those around you to live longer, healthier lives. Form a team today and walk to help the American Heart Association defeat heart disease and stroke, two of the nation's leading killers. For more information, visit heartwalk.org.
Hi, this is Jean Noel Bassior, inviting you to join me for my new show, The Book Beat, Monday evenings at 6:30 p.m. I'll be talking to authors about their latest book so you can find a fantastic read. But more than that, I'll be talking to experts about how you can write your own book and get it published. So tune in on Mondays at 6:30 p.m. exclusively on latalklive.com. And remember, you can catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hello, this is Angela DeJoseph. Join me Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific for the Angela DeJoseph Show. Join me as we venture into health, wealth. We're going to give you news, interviews, and entertainment. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, Live 365, Radio Flag, TiVo Radio, and now live on Facebook. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. My next guest is one of my series regulars, Steve Downs. Steve is the educator for Superior Source. Superior Source is a microlingual supplement company, and they manufacture their own products in their own laboratory here in Los Angeles. Steve, welcome to Here's to Your Health.
Well, thank you very much, Josh. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Yeah, always happy to have, you're always fun. Happy to have you on camera with me.
I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I've done a number of these before and so forth, but I mean, you're just a fabulous interviewer.
Thank you.
And you've got great questions, and you make it very easy for me. So thank you.
Of course, like two guys sitting around a table talking about health, which is really kind of spent a lot of time doing that. So your company does what is called microlingual formulations for supplements, B vitamins, etc., melatonin, all sorts of vitamin D, vitamin K. And what exactly is the rationale for using a supplement that dissolves in the mouth?
Well, it's the way of getting the nutrients into the bloodstream as quickly as possible. Also, the fact that we found after we came out with the technology to do this was that in the last major survey done, 38% of supplement takers said they'd rather not swallow tablets or capsules. And as the population begins to gray, it's amazing. More and more are coming in and asking for this, which is really, really kind of nice. So, our company, I told you before, goes back to 1969.
Right.
Our president and founder, Ron Beckenfeld, started it then basically out of the trunk of his car, selling to gyms around town, and specifically Joe Gold and Gold's gym, where he trained.
Right.
And this worked out, good for him. It really built his business up substantially to where he was beginning to manufacture his own products. He was buying from a co-packer and then began manufacturing his own, and came across one of these machines that produced tablets, nitroglycerin tablets, and it's an instant release technology that is also used in producing homeopathic tissue salts. Mm-hmm. So, as you know, with nitroglycerin, you've got a life or death situation there, so that thing better dissolve quickly. You've got a dead patient on your hands. So, so this is the only technology that really does that completely. And what it does, basically, it involves combining the nutrients themselves with a small amount of lactose and acacia gum, a natural tree gum, which not only binds the ingredients together, but also acts as an enhancement of the delivery of the nutrients in the mouth, and particularly under the tongue, where it's absorbed directly into the bloodstream through the capillaries, providing blood levels of the nutrients comparable to what you would get in injection without the usual binders and fillers and excipients of a tablet or capsule. So it's got everything good going for it. That's the nice thing about it. As a consequence, we've been doing really better and better all the time with it and so forth. The term microlingual came about by a marketing person that we had put together many of our promotional pieces. Her name is Carol Kriegel, and she's a registered nurse and also works very closely with the Natural Products Association. And she was reading through our literature and very perceptively picked up that we were advertising and promoting the instant release feature, and that it was done in the mouth or under the tongue. So she took the term micro, we called them micro tabs. She combined micro with lingual, and we trademarked that. The boss thought it was really, quite a thing, because the term sublingual, or the delivery system sublingual, is technically a medical administration. Mm-hmm. So we're told to basically stay away from that. So, but microlingual is, and I'm so pleased that you said that, because on all of our products now we have microlingual in the products themselves. That customers are beginning to recognize this now as this unique delivery system. So they're not even thinking or saying sublingual. It's microlingual.
That's good.
Which is exactly what we're after.
Well, that's very good. Now, for those listening to Here's Your Health today, probably some of the people listening would think, oh, gee, I thought if I eat an apple that I digest it in the stomach. Are you saying that we can actually absorb nutrients in the mouth?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. And especially ones that are very difficult to absorb in the intestinal tract themselves. And that's exactly why we started with vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is it's a huge molecule, tremendous molecule.
Yeah.
It's a four-structured molecule that looks almost identical to hemoglobin in blood and to chlorophyll.
Oh, I see.
In
the
plants.
chlorophyll. Uh-huh.
It's very, very, very interesting. The structures are very similar, with the exception of the central mineral. Of course, hemoglobin is iron,
Mm-hmm.
chlorophyll is magnesium, and
I see.
and cobalt is B12 as the central mineral. So
well, as things do change in society, many people have been opting to have, if they're terribly overweight, they want to have surgery done, bariatric surgery to lose weight. I'm not sure that's a very good idea. It seems like possibly could be a very bad idea for the health. But are those patients, are the physicians moving their patients towards products like yours? Because when they cut the stomach in various sections, they realize that patients can no longer absorb nutrients?
That's an excellent question, and it reminds me of a store that I was in Bakersfield, California, and a woman was going to our section and picked up a bottle of our 5,000 microgram B12 and was going to the counter with it. And I said, you'll get blood levels on that comparable to an injection. She says, oh, I know. She says, I'm going in for my second surgery. She was a bariatric patient, and at that time, it just occurred to me, my gosh, this is a whole new audience for us.
It's a whole new audience, yeah.
And then something aside from that also, I was down right just outside of San Diego in Dana Point at my sister's. We were celebrating Easter and had our families down there. And a friend of my sister's and her husband were there, and I was talking with her and showed her, of course, I always carry samples around. We gave her a sample and showed her what we were doing and so forth. And she says, wow, that's really very interesting. That would really come in very handy with bariatric patients. She happened to be a bariatric surgeon, which was
really?
absolutely amazing. So yes, that's something that that has come up. But over and above that, anybody, as I started to go into a little detail on B12 being such a large molecule and so forth, it's very difficult to absorb into the intestinal tract, and that's why doctors have had the corner on the market with getting B12 into people by giving them injections.
Right. But of course, B12 injections are a good thing.
Absolutely.
They're a good thing, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And if a person lacks B12, what can the symptoms be, so to speak?
Oh boy, a variety of lethargy, of scattered thoughts, maybe depression. It's amazing.
Could it be numbness
does
and
so many-
tingling of the extremities?
Numbness and tingling, exactly, because it really has so much to do with the nervous system itself. But yeah, there are a number of symptoms really, and it's a really a large deficiency that many really don't know is that prevalent.
Well, now that we know that so many of us are lacking in vitamin D, which is something that's kind of been established, say, within the past decade anyway.
Right.
How the large number of Americans are lacking in vitamin D. Have there been any studies to suggest that many Americans are lacking B12?
Yes, quite a number. In fact, there's I think a really good book on B12. The author's name is Sandy Pasholik, and she goes into great detail about that. It was a personal interest of hers because as a teenager she discovered that she was B12 deficient.
As a teenager?
As a
Oh, my
teenager,
goodness.
yeah. So, and in fact, we have her at trade shows signing books, and we put together actually a formulation for her that she kind of liked. It combines the methylcobalamin, the bioactive, or what many see as the bioactive form, with another bioactive form of vitamin B12, and that's adenosylcobalamin, which is known as dibencoxide. It's the coenzyme form of B12.
Oh, I see.
So we've got a 50-50 mixture of the two. She likes that. She takes that. She says that still she will take an occasional B12 shot, but she keeps her levels up by taking.
What was the name of that author?
Sally Pacholik.
And Sally is a registered nurse, or
She is. She's a registered nurse, and she's also got an MS, and she's married to a doctor of osteopathy who's an MD, and they put this book out. It's really a fabulous book. It's very, very well done. It goes into great detail, and I know that she was involved in doing a documentary also on B12, which one of the main characters in this documentary is a pediatrician whose health started going downhill. He couldn't figure out what was going on, and he got to be just shriveled up, and really went downhill quickly. Was actually had to wear diapers at one time. Would you believe his nervous system was really gone?
That's not good for your self-image.
No, not at all,
Bad.
not at all. But they finally found it was B12.
No kidding.
And yeah,
Oh, my
believe
goodness.
it or not, and turned that around. I know that Dr. Alfred Libby in the chemistry department at UCLA said that if oldsters in old folks' homes, if their B12 levels could be increased to normal levels, that you'd get rid of the majority of the dementia.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, my
it's
goodness.
amazing. It's that big a factor.
And so, in your opinion, what is the number that we're looking for? How much B12 is it a good idea to take every day for all of us as adults? Is there a number?
Not really. I guess it depends on the individual. I think 1,000 micrograms would probably work.
You could get by on
just
1,000.
fine.
People would be happy with that.
I understand about 3 or 4 years ago that there was an article in the Journal of the American Medical Association stating that a dose of 5,000 in an under-the-tongue approach, methylcobalamin, was comparable to an injection. But I've got blood tests on myself showing, and that's, of course, you have to believe me on this, that 1,000 micrograms of just the plain good old cyanocobalamin works wonders, because I combine that with a B6 and the folic acid. When I found out that I had a problem with my red blood cells, that my red blood cells were a little on the large size, and nutritionally oriented medical doctor told me that I could take care of that by either getting injections or maybe trying a supplement of some kind. I was not employed at our company. I did not know about them until I went to a store, found a B6, B12, and folic acid combination that addresses that, and it happens to be our product. And I brought that down in a relatively short period of time. It was amazing.
So B6, B12, and folic acid. That's an important combination of nutrients, isn't it?
It's an important combination because it works on bringing down homocysteine levels. Homocysteine is a foreign amino acid that's been shown that if it's in larger amounts is a risk factor for both heart disease and stroke. Mm-hmm. So each one of the nutrients will work to do that, but in a sense, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So
you mean
they
B6,
all work together.
B12, folic acid,
and folic acid.
They work very nicely together.
Work very nicely together. In fact, I had a follow-up blood test done. It was really very interesting to see where my other levels were and so forth. And the doctor that did it in town here, I think I've mentioned him before, Michael Gallitzer, who was, you may not know the name, but you know Suzanne Summers. He's her doctor, and he's the one that got her on bioidentical hormones, in fact.
I see. What was his name again?
Gallitzer, Michael Gallitzer. He's in West Los Angeles, right on the border of Santa Monica. A very nice fellow, and he's done quite a job in that regard.
Well, Suzanne Summers, in my opinion, is an important and credible spokesperson for wellness. I happen to be a big Suzanne Summers fan, and I've been around long enough. When she first started these ideas, she was really criticized as like, what is she, just a good-looking woman? How dare she talk about wellness? And I thought, really? You have no right to talk about wellness? You have to be an MD to talk about wellness? And I give her credit for like persevering with that and having a great track record, in my opinion. I like what Suzanne Summers has accomplished.
Oh, yeah, really. Well, if you see her books, she gives Michael Gallitzer a lot of credit. In fact, he's written chapters in her books, too. But at any rate, he gave me a blood test to follow up on. I looked at it, and it had a test for homocysteine, but it wasn't checked off. So what did I do? I checked it off because I was curious. I was curious to see where it was. So when I got it back, I guess I found out at the time why he didn't check it off. It was a very expensive test.
Oh, I see.
But it did come back, and it was one of the items it was the item that was actually below normal, would you believe, which is, with homocysteine, that's certainly where you'd want to be. So I can't be honest and say that it was above normal before, but I know that taking that product really, really, really helped. Bring
now,
it down
earlier
to
in
those
the conversation, you mentioned that you had an enlargement of the red blood cell. So enlargement of red blood cells contributes to what type of problem, potentially?
Nothing critical except that it means that they have to work a little bit harder. The marker is called mean corpuscular volume.
I see.
And that's MCV is the marker that you'd see. The red blood cells are a little on the large size, and that usually indicates a B12 and/or folic acid deficiency. And so I've been on many crazy diets in my life, and I chalked that up to my macropsychotic days.
Oh yes.
And thought that since this looks like the remedy for it, the B6, B12 folic, I'm going to give that a shot. By golly, it did lower it, and then I found out that in about 3 months after I'd had it lowered, it actually went down below that again too. So it works. It works very well. And again, I was using our combination of 2 milligrams of vitamin B6, 400 micrograms of folic acid, and 1,000 milligrams of vitamin B12 in the form of cyanocobalamin and not the bioactive methyl form.
Now you mentioned cyanocobalamin. So in your opinion, cyanocobalamin works good too?
It works extremely well. It was the first that was used supplementally. When the methyl came along, of course, we added that to the arsenal. But
why, better science?
But didn't get. Well, it's the bio-ready form. It's the form that the body, that the central nervous system readily uses.
I see.
But when you take cyanocobalamin in the body, which, by the way, is the most stable form of vitamin B12,
I see.
it goes directly to the liver, And the CH3, the methyl radical, is added at that time, so you've got methylcobalamin. And I kiddingly say to people, but it's not so funny, that if you're not making that conversion, you have a lot worse problem than a B12 deficiency.
Well,
You've got some major liver
That's
issues.
fair. That's very fair.
Yeah.
And that's actually it's very, very fair.
Right.
And also earlier in the conversation, you mentioned a third form of B12. What's the third form you mentioned?
Adenosylcobalamin, or maybe better known as dibenkozide, which is the coenzyme. It's a coenzyme form of vitamin B12.
Is that used less frequently?
It's used less frequently. It was used years ago. It got to be a big thing with bodybuilders, but it caught on for a while, and then it's done, kind of, okay. But we combine it half and half with the methyl, so that it gives Sally that combination that she likes. And but again, I see no problem with cyanocobalamin at all. It's as I say, it's the most stable of all the B12. So
now, also, I noticed that you have formulations now with vitamin K.
Right.
And what does vitamin K do for me?
Well, vitamin K is the new unsung hero, I believe. It's kind of the new vitamin D, and in fact, when you see more research coming in on vitamin D, they're also finding that to ramp that up and do a better job with the vitamin D, that vitamin K, specifically vitamin K2, would be the form to take, and it's vitamin K2 that's going to be coming along. And I think become extremely popular once somebody like maybe Dr. Oz gets a hold of it and runs with it.
And does it make me feel peppy? Why do I take vitamin K2?
Vitamin K2 has been shown to be the factor that combines with protein to form the bone matrix, which is what a lot of these drugs are supposed to do, the Fosmex and so forth, yet are unfortunately causing all kinds of problems.
Jawbone death, I believe, in women.
Right. Right.
Serious
exactly.
issues. Right.
But K2 is combines with a protein to form that matrix to strengthen bone, to prevent like hip fractures and that kind of a thing. But it's also been shown to not only prevent the deposit of calcium in the aorta, but to actually initiate a 38% reversal. Now, once there's more studies on this and so forth, I mean, you're talking about some big health factors that are addressed with this, and I think it's going to be really, really huge. So we've come out with a couple of new K2 products and combinations of K1 and K2.
Now, K2, we don't actually need too much K2. Is that correct? We need very little?
There are different forms of it. It's vitamin K2 is the K molecule, K itself, will have a chain on the end. That's where you hear the 1 to, it'll go from anywhere from 1 to 15.
Oh, I see.
We've introduced an MK4 vitamin K2 that's a 500 microgram, and then an MK7, which you've probably heard. That's the most popular K2 now, is the MK7, which originally came from natto. Yeah, the Japanese condiment,
right?
Natto, and at any rate, we've got 100 microgram there. We put together a product that we call Triple K, which is 500 micrograms of K1 with 500 micrograms of K2 as MK4, and then 50 micrograms of MK7 as K2. So that's and it's one of our top sellers. But again, we're just waiting for the press to break on this. Yeah, exactly.
So are athletes using the K vitamins? Do they? So once again, if someone takes additional K, would they feel? Were they able to ride their cycle faster? Were they able to run a hill faster? I mean, can I feel anything?
Yeah, I don't know if that's really been demonstrated or not. It's just the physiological effects that it has, in the body itself, regarding to, as I say, combining with to form the matrix of bone and so forth, and to prevent the calcium deposit where you don't want it.
Right.
And
what about vitamin D? So it's a modest amount of sunshine, and we form vitamin D on the skin and through the iris of the eye.
Right.
So you have studies that support that we absorb vitamin D in the mouth cavity?
Only anecdotal from people that I know that have taken it. No, vitamin D itself is of course, it's formed on the skin.
Yes.
and combining with the molecule of the skin, I believe it's a cholesterol derivative to form the vitamin D, which is then absorbed into the body and taken, which probably indicates that that vitamin D is actually more a hormone than it is a vitamin. Actually,
Yes, I've heard that. Yes.
yeah,
right.
and you'll hear more. You'll probably be hearing more about that. But as far as vitamin D is concerned, it's been we are using by the way vitamin D3, which is the natural form which we're using, not vitamin D2, and so you wonder, putting it in the mouth and under your tongue. Well, if it's a fat soluble vitamin, how are you going to utilize it? Putting in your mouth. Well, the material we're using is a genuine vitamin D3, but it also has been rendered water dispersible.
Oh, I see.
Now, not soluble, because that would negate the fact that it's an oil soluble vitamin.
Right.
It couldn't do that, but it will disperse in water. So you take that, and it's a very, very small amount of material that's needed. You've seen the little microtabs. Put it under your tongue and let it dissolve there, and you'll get incredible levels. I know I've got. In fact, I was in a couple weeks ago in Baltimore at Expo East at our trade show back on the East Coast, and a broker that used to work for me came and she said, could I get another one of your vitamin Ds? She says, my dad, when he was taking it, his levels were up. When he got off of it and was taking another one, it dropped, and the doctor said, you got to take more vitamin D. But he'd take ours, and they would stay up. So, again, anecdotal information.
That's okay.
So
I think anecdotal information is very fair, and obviously some products are more carefully manufactured than others. So
Right.
some brands work good and others not so much.
No, that's true.
Not so much. Steve, where can we buy Superior Source?
Superior Source is available in most major health food stores in the Southern California and across the country. Whole Foods markets, Sprouts, Mother's Markets, Lassen's,
All the important chains, right?
all the big ones, and of course,
One's at Agora Hills too. Fantastic.
Agora Hills
That's right.
does a
Fantastic
phenomenal
store.
job.
Exactly
and,
right. I know that store. The guy's a Prince who owns it.
Boy, he really is. He really
Steve
is.
Downs, it's been a great fun having you on Here's
Hey,
to Your Health
listen,
today.
it all
It's
goes
fun.
way too fast, and
It's fun.
I really appreciate it, Josh.
fun.
Thank you so much.
Have you back on again.
Thank you.
You're listening to Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live Transmedia Network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.
Walk, run, climb, play. Solgar number 7 can help. Feel the difference for yourself. Solgar number 7 actually shows improvement in joint comfort within 7 days. Now you can start to get back on track fast and pursue the activities you love. Solgar number 7 is a breakthrough in joint care with no glucosamine and no chondroitin. The advanced bioactives in Solgar number 7 help to increase flexibility, mobility, range of motion, and actually shows improvement within just 7 days. One capsule, once a day, is all you need. When stiff joints occasionally say no, Solgar number 7 says yes. Visit Solgar.com and learn more about Solgar number 7 today. That's www.solgar.com, www.solgar.com. Solgar number 7, official sponsors of Here's to Your Health with Josh Lane and LA Talk Live.
Hi, this is Dr. Levi, your fitness doctor, making a personal house call, inviting you to join me Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific for my all-new show, The Dr. Levi Show. Join us as we discuss fitness, health, and well-being, including emotional and spiritual health. So don't forget to tune in to The Dr. Levi Show every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com and the Talk Live Broadcast Network. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv, or catch us on the Live 365 network, and now on Radio Flag and Stitcher Radio. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Susan Levin, owner and founder of Speaker Services, inviting you to join me and co-host Jean Noel Bassiar on Monday evenings, 5 p.m. Pacific, for our new show, Talk Up Your Business, Speak Your Way to More Profits. We'll be talking to you about how to use your expertise to grow your business or service through speaking. Our expert speakers and author guests will share their stories and success secrets with you. Don't forget to tune in to Talk Up Your Business Mondays at 5 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
The American Heart Association's Heart Walk is coming. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring your coworkers. Help yourself and those around you to live longer, healthier lives. Form a team today and walk to help the American Heart Association defeat heart disease and stroke, two of the nation's leading killers. For more information, visit heartwalk.org.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. My guest is Minda Wilson, who is an attorney and very much interested in the Affordable Care Act, and has some, and I believe has written help write legislation for that, and is going to be on our show today, helping us kind of go through this. So, Minda, thank you for coming to Here's to Your Health.
Thank you for having me.
So what prompted you to study this subject?
Last year, I sold my business, but before I sold it, I had concerns about how it would affect my employees. Mm-hmm. So I started to review the Act to determine how it would impact them and what things I would have to do to protect them and make sure they had coverage for their health care needs. And in doing that, what I realized is there were it was a great idea providing health care for people that didn't have insurance, but the implementation of the Act was very troublesome. And it would have implications that weren't really being discussed. And I felt that sometimes in your life you really have to sort of do more than just talk about it to your friends. You have to get out there and sort of let people know what's happening and then prepare so that they can make good decisions with all the facts available to them. And that's sort of what started me on this path. I started the Affordable Health Care Review, and
the Affordable Health Care Review is you started that, so that's you really as a student of this subject.
In order to educate people about what's in the Act, and also to provide information, and it doesn't cost anything, so it's free to the people that want to use its services. And really, I'm sort of on a mission to let people know what the Act really means to them.
Well, what can you tell my listening audience right off the bat, things that, we need to know about the Act, the Affordable Care Act?
Well, I think the first thing you need to know is that it's not really about affordability. What it's really about is trying to provide insurance coverage for people who don't have insurance. And the big beneficiaries of the act are the poor. So it really...
And what's the definition of poor?
Federal definition is 133% of the poverty level. State definition of California is 138% of the poverty level.
So that's how much money does a man or woman have to earn before they're considered in that or out of that range?
So if you give me a second, I can give you the information exactly because I brought it.
All right, good. And as it turns out, that turns out to be kind of a sizable percentage of the American population, does it not?
Yes. Well, in California, the average wage is $147,000 a year, which is not that much.
Excuse me. $147,000 is what the average person in California earns? Are you sure?
Yes, according to the Franchise Tax Board, that's the average wage for a person in California.
Yeah. So you mean to tell me the people working at Burger King are making $147,000 a year?
Well, no, but it means that for the person that makes $1 million a year, there's a lot of people working at Burger King making $15,000, $16,000 a year. So that's what it averages out to.
So you mean all the movie stars who are making $50 million a year, they're kind of bringing them up a little bit, right?
Yes.
Right. Because I think if you're a judge here in L.A. and you earn about, what do they earn? $160,000 a year, and that's a judge. It's a good job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but most people are not earning $147. They're earning.
No, they're earning $47.
Oh, you said 47.
47,000.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said 147.
No,
sorry,
no,
I apologize.
no.
Okay. 47. All right, And even at 47, then a lot of people are still working at Burger King or at Kmart or Costco, and they're just really barely scraping by. And there are a lot of those people barely scraping by.
Correct.
Right. All right.
And those are the people who are going to be most impacted by the act. Sorry, I'm going to have to put my glasses on.
That's not a problem.
So basically, in California, 138% of the poverty level for a household of one is almost a little less than $16,000 a year.
So if you're earning less than $16,000 a year...
In California.
Is that per person or for the household?
That's for a household of one.
Okay, so one person earning less than $16,000 a year is now automatically has health care coverage.
Is eligible for Medicaid, Medi-Cal in California.
And before this, they were not eligible?
No, that threshold was lower.
What do you mean was lower?
So you were eligible for Medi-Cal, but it wasn't 133% of the poverty level. There was a sliding scale depending on how old you were, what other factors that influenced whether or not, how much you made, where you lived, other factors that influenced your eligibility.
Is the new act more inclusive?
I don't know that inclusive. It's just based on income.
Alrighty.
So before... For example, there was if you were a woman that was pregnant, you automatically got Medicaid. If you
Seems like a good thing.
Yeah, no, but now it's based on income. So if you earn more than the threshold, and you're a woman who's pregnant, you would qualify for a subsidized insurance policy, but you may not necessarily apply for Medicaid. It depends on a bunch of circumstances.
Okay. All right.
So, and a family of five, it's $38,000. That
a family
is
of
the poverty
five
level
earns
in California.
In California, less than $38,000. A family of five. Then they're now enrolled automatically.
No, they have to enroll.
They have to enroll.
So, anyone who is interested in applying for Medicaid, they actually have to apply. They don't get it automatically. And in fact, I believe it's less than 60% of the people nationwide who are eligible actually have applied.
So far.
It's a relatively small number.
Is that we're talking so far?
Yes.
And by the way, while I have you here on the show, and this is what you have studied, and you are an attorney, if you decide not to get insurance, is the penalty $95 per year if you do not get the insurance?
That's the minimum penalty for a single person, yes.
$95. So it's not really a real big burden if you decide, for whatever reason, that you're not getting insurance.
Yeah, the insurance is still expensive. It's actually quite expensive. So people have to do an economic analysis. I did hear someone say... there was a question about the law, whether or not the law mandates the acquisition of insurance. And actually, when the Supreme Court determined that the law was a tax, what that meant was that if you don't have insurance, you have to pay a tax. And so a violation of the law would be to not pay the tax, but there's no criminal penalty associated with that. So,
I see.
So, and in fact, if you don't pay the only way the fine can be assessed is if you, through your tax refund, if you don't pay enough taxes in. So if you're entitled to a refund in the future, then they can go after your...
So if you decide not to get health insurance and you're a single person and the fine is $95 and you don't pay, they don't do anything.
Well, if they wait for your refund, and if you're owed $95, they'll deduct it from the refund you're entitled to.
Okay, let me ask you a slightly, I guess, political question. Is it true, is this an accurate number, that the insurance companies, before the Affordable Health Care Act was passed, spent $80 million, I have read, to defeat it?
I don't know how much they spent to defeat it or to pass it. The truth is that the big winner in the passage of the Affordable Care Act is the insurance company.
Yes, as it turns out. Yes, as it turns out. Yeah, but I read that they spent $80 million to defeat it because, for whatever reason, they thought they were going to lose money. But as it turns out, you kind of mandated you got to buy it from them, as opposed to having the government take care of it. Like if I was a veteran, if I had been in the service for two years successfully and then left the service successfully, honorably, I'm entitled to health care for the rest of my life at no charge.
From the veterans, yeah. From the VA, yes, that's correct.
And how many millions of men and women get the free health care from the VA?
I don't know.
Just wondering.
I have no idea. I would hope that those that can take advantage of it. Some people, though, may want their own private insurance. I know that if you do get benefits from the VA, you have to go be taken care of at VA facilities, and you're not allowed to go to the doctor of your choice, So it may make it, for some people, they may make the decision not to go to the VA. They may make the decision to get private care. It's, again, it's an economic decision and a personal decision about choice.
And was there anything that you discovered in your research that really surprised you about the act?
I think the thing that most surprised me was the lack of that it wasn't really that it's going to be an economic decision for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. That it's not really as affordable as one might consider, and that concerns me. So, for example, if you are an average family of 4, you're looking at, for a silver plan, approximately $3,300 a month, which...
Wait. A family of 4, $3,300 a month?
$300 a month, about a little over $3,000 a year for insurance. Well, most people live to their means, and frankly, if they're not buying insurance now, the ability to scrape together $3,000 would be a hardship for those families. Mm-hmm. So it concerns me that they wouldn't have the money to pay for it, even though it's less expensive than buying the policy at full cost. So I wonder what the implications of that will be.
Well, that seems like a very fair question, a fair thing to ponder, for sure.
Yeah. So the other thing is that there's a lot of taxes that people aren't aware of. So
what type of taxes?
So there are taxes. Well, until recently, there was a discussion about whether or not, if your employer offered you a policy, in theory, they could tax benefits also provided to your family members and your dependents as income to you. Mm-hmm. So if typical policies paid for by corporations are about $15,000 a year for a family plan, individual policies are about $7,000 a year. That would add $8,000 a year of taxable income onto people's income. And if your average income is like $47,000 a year, that's a pretty significant addition to your income,
Yes.
which you have to pay taxes on. So I've been very concerned about the tax effect of the law, though I understand that recently there's been a lot of discussion about not moving forward on the taxation of benefits to family members and dependents. In addition, there are a lot of taxes on the individual policies themselves that people are not aware of. There's going to be a tax on. There's going to be a tax for actually getting the insurance. There's like a sales tax on it. It works out to about $25 extra a month. A month I think it is, that the policy will cost you just in taxes in order to provide for the infrastructure that's managing the exchanges.
Oh, I see. I did not know that.
Yeah. And so, again, that's another cost that people
That is
aren't
a cost.
aware of
Right.
that people should be aware of. So I think one of the things that I'm concerned about is that people need to know what the all-in cost of obtaining a policy either through a broker or through an exchange is going to be. And the other thing is the exchange policies are relatively expensive. So if you are a single person and you are not eligible for a subsidy, you probably will get better coverage by going to a licensed broker and examining your options through a licensed broker. That is because the exchange policies are limited as to where you can get service and also the doctors that are participating. If you go to a licensed broker, you may be able to get a broader range of coverage and you may be able to get a better pricing. So I advise people to check with the broker and determine what their best option is, especially if they're not eligible for a subsidy.
What has been one of the most successful aspects of the Affordable Care Act? This is the question. I know that if you were diabetic and previously had been denied insurance coverage, that under the new Affordable Care Act, you can now get coverage even if you had diabetes or another problem that they know you've had, and they can't not include you any longer. So that's been a plus, eh?
Well, the answer to your question is yes, that's true. Now they absolutely cannot. But most states, prior to the passage of the law, had special, like California, had special policies available to people that had been turned down by insurance companies.
I did not know that. I did not know.
So if you got a letter of rejection from an insurance company, in fact, you could go to the state and they mandated that any insurance company doing business in the state provide these policies. The policies were not free, but they were pegged to the rate of a healthy 40-year-old. So you couldn't be charged exorbitant amounts because you had AIDS. And this actually started in the 1980s with the AIDS epidemic when people were being denied insurance.
Is that just California? Because California's progressive.
California Florida has them. Most states have that kind of.
They had them before
right.
Really?
So one of the
even the more recalcitrant states like Texas and Mississippi, etc. Not to cast aspersions, but
I don't know. I don't know that 100% of the states offered these, but I know that the majority of states did offer a plan like this for people who were rejected. The problem was it wasn't free, and in fact, it could be expensive, but insurance products under the Affordable Care Act are not free. So you're actually substituting one expensive product for another expensive product. And the thing about products offered in the past was oftentimes they had a broader range of coverage because you could go to any hospital you wanted, you could go to any doctor you wanted. They were modeled after PPO. You had a PPO option, you had an HMO option. You could get a broader range of care. Now the exchange programs are sort of more limited in facilities you can use and doctors that are participating. So, to get the affordable, in affordable care, a lot of services and options were stripped out.
And is that with the idea of getting the bill passed? Because always later on you can always add an amendment. Is that kind of the thinking politically? I don't want you to talk for either particular party here, but was that the thinking to give it to the insurance companies because this way they could get a coalition together to get it passed? Is that the reason they did that?
I don't know. I think that there is a disconnect between what people of means think is affordable and what people not of means think is affordable.
Oh, yes.
So, and as a result of that disconnect, what is a lot of money to somebody who is not a person of significant means may not be perceived as a lot of money to somebody who has significant means. And I think most of the people in Washington are not really viscerally in touch with what a $300 bill means to a family that's making $40,000 a year.
And again, the insurance companies, just to mention this once again, spent $80 million to defeat this legislation. They spent $80 million to defeat it. So obviously, they didn't want it.
Well, I don't think they wanted it because
They thought they'd lose money.
Yes, I think they did think...
Which is very fair on their part to think they don't want to lose any money, but really, it doesn't seem... it seems to me that to provide insurance for every American seems like a very good thing for the American social safety net, frankly. And don't the Europeans have it? Don't the Germans have...
well...
And don't the French have it? I mean, you know.
Well,
the Israelis, you know.
They do and they don't. So they have a public system, but they also have private systems. So again, people...
And Canada, you know, they got it too.
And, Canada...
Not a real radical country, that Canada.
No, and truthfully, it's a very good system. The only problem is there are some issues about treatment. So if you're over a certain age in Canada and you have a prostate problem, you aren't allowed to obtain treatment under they have age limits for treatments, which is what we're moving towards here.
Well, prostate cancer is something that in this country they realize it's best left alone. It's such a slow-growing cancer that it's better. And then when they overwork these men, over-proceduralize these men, the men do worse.
No, I understand,
Right.
but there are other procedures like for example, if you have a valve problem and you're over, I don't know the age. I think it's somewhere in your early 70s, which now is relatively young.
Yes.
If you want to pay for it, you can pay for it, but it's not included in the...
You mean like putting a stent in is not included these days?
There's an age limit on on procedures that they offer in Canada for almost every procedure. So, you know, in the United States, you know, you can get coverage for procedures if you're, and they're not really prescribed by age. So, you know, there's some, as I said, there are some really wonderful things about it, but there are some, every system has its pluses and every system has its minuses. And so a lot of Canadians that are older come to the United States, they buy policies here and they obtain health care just so that they can be covered for the kinds of things that we're talking about.
And what percentage of Canadians come over to do that?
The ones that can afford it.
Which is like what, 1% or something like that? Who comes over? You know? It's not really a big number, though, is it?
I don't know. You know, I would assume that maybe 10% of Canadians, especially the ones that are close to the border and can come to New York or Chicago or Detroit and receive care in very fine medical facilities there. So I don't know the answer to your question. So one of the things that I also wanted to talk about these plans were that when we talk about how the payment, one of the things that people are most surprised about is not only do they have to pay for the insurance, but also they are not aware that there will be co-pays and for visits, and that there will be fees for the use of things like emergency services or prescription drugs. So this is something that I want people to know about, because they assume that if they're getting a subsidy that the care itself is free, and this is definitely not true. So if you want a generic medicine, you still have to pay a $19 copay. If you go to the emergency room, it can be as much as $300 for your copay for an emergency room visit. So
$19 on a copay for a medication that might be $6,000 for the month isn't really that too much money, is it? It's not really burdensome. It's just something, but it's not really burdensome, is it?
Well, it depends. It depends on the medication, and it also depends on what other prescription.
No, it certainly does. And for an emergency room visit that might be, say, $16,000, to pay $300, it's still $300, but it's taken a lot of pressure off that individual, hasn't it? For that $300.
I think it's again, we're talking about the affordability. So what happens is it depends on whether or not you can afford it at all. So that's one of the issues.
Now, you're an attorney. Let me ask this question, put you on the spot. And if you do not pay a hospital bill of $300 or $1,000, it doesn't even do too much to your credit rating, does it?
Something, I don't know how it would affect your credit rating. I'm sure there's a ding attached to it, and I'm sure your credit rating is reduced. But most people that are living, to their means or slightly above their means, they don't have extremely high credit ratings in general. The only reason why I'm raising this issue is because I have a concern that people will involve themselves in a situation and then find themselves on the hook for money that they didn't know they would have to spend.
Sure.
So, and that's really the point that I'm making, is just when you buy the policy, just consider the whole thing. I mean, there are options. You have the bronze, the silver, the gold, the platinum plans, and the higher the metal, the higher the cost of the policy, but the lower the copays. So if you're somebody who's a heavy user of medical services, then you might want to consider paying a little more for the policy and getting a platinum plan. If you're somebody who never goes to the doctor and never uses services, then you might want to consider getting a bronze plan, paying less for your policy and then paying more out of pocket if you decide or if you need to use the services. Right. So I want people to be able to make reasoned economic decisions.
Minda Wilson, how can people contact you?
They can go to my website, www.affordablehealthcarereview.com. And
I have that once again.
www.affordablehealthcarereview.com. And there's a way you can make an inquiry, and I answer all questions that people have.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's fun. You're listening to Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. We'll be right back after these important messages.
Hi, this is Starlet Quarles, and I'm inviting you to join us every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for a new show right here on LA Talk Live, The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. Join us as we discuss the topics that are relevant to today's generational leaders. So don't forget to tune in to The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People, every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hello, I'm Joel Ramirez.
And I'm Lolita Robinson Coppage, and welcome to Joy in My House
on latalklive.com. Inspirational radio
with a touch of recovery.
A reality show where nothing is left unsaid
and no one is insignificant who says it.
exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV.
Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dr. Levi, your fitness doctor, making a personal house call, inviting you to join me Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific for my all-new show, The Dr. Levi Show. Join us as we discuss fitness, health, and well-being, including emotional and spiritual health. So don't forget to tune in to The Dr. Levi Show every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com and the Talk Live Broadcast Network. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv, or catch us on the Live 365 network, and now on Radio Flag and Stitcher Radio. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. My next guest, Peter, has a vegan ice cream made without non-dairy. And these vegan ice creams have become somewhat popular recently. Peter, welcome to Here's to Your Health.
Thank you, Joshua.
And your company is called OASIS Vegan Ice Cream?
Technically, it's Organic OASIS, but until we get certified organic, I had to take the organic bit out. So
that's very good.
Right now, it's OASIS Raw Vegan Ice Cream.
And what exactly is a vegan?
Well, vegan is someone who doesn't eat any animal products of any type.
But, I mean, no milk, in other words.
No milk, no meat,
no eggs.
Yes, exactly.
And so your ice cream is made with what?
Well, it's simple. There's 3 base ingredients, which is raw cashews, raw young Thai coconut meat, and raw organic agave nectar.
So it's cashews, coconut meat from a coconut, and agave nectar.
Correct.
That seems very simple.
That's the base for every flavor.
I see.
And then it goes from there. For instance, blueberry has raw organic wild blueberries, and strawberry has raw organic strawberries. That's it. Those are the only ingredients. Coconut water as well.
And so now those ingredients all sound very good. And what was the genesis of the idea of putting out the OASIS ice cream?
Okay, well, I started out with a food truck. I was one of the first wave of the gourmet food trucks here in L.A.
Wait, what year was that?
2010.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Green Truck was probably the very first food truck on the road, believe it or not, before the Kogi truck. And, they're still out there plugging away.
Well, I know it's been a big movement, and I knew it started reasonably recently. And what did you do on your food truck?
I did organic vegan smoothies made with fresh coconut water, which proved very popular. I mean, I had no idea how my product would be received.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured a truck would be a cheap way to, run it up the flagpole and see what people thought about it. I started out with basically no food and quickly learned that in order to compete in that space, I had to offer food products. So I came up with several raw vegan food items. Avo bowl, nori rolls. I did a vegan melt. I had to add a panini machine. We had a juice machine, so we did raw juice.
Well, this all sounds very progressive. And how did it go? Went good?
Well, you'd think L.A. would be the perfect city to launch a healthy food truck,
I would
right?
think it would be. Yeah, I would think it would be. Yeah.
But people, funny enough, they gravitate towards the most unhealthy trucks on the road, like grilled cheese and Korean beef tacos and things of that nature. And
Where was your truck parked, by the way? It went all over the place?
yeah, I had the most success at large events like Coachella, Lightning in a Bottle, CrossFit Games. I did the Spartan Race, Malibu Marathon.
I don't want to sound like a bad person, but in other words, when you went to the places where there was more progressive thought about wellness, your food truck did well.
Correct.
Is that fair to say?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if
so
I
there
were
is
just...
actually a market. There is a market.
Oh, yeah.
And that market tends to be educated, right?
Right.
Educated
People who are health
CrossFit.
conscious,
Right.
they line up.
Mm-hmm.
They know what to order. They don't balk at the price because, the ingredients are expensive because they're all organic.
Right.
And they knew exactly what kind of boosts they wanted, for walnut oil, bee pollen, or, peanut butter, almond butter, things of that nature. Would cost a little, like $1 more to add to make it a custom smoothie.
And what exactly is a smoothie?
Well, everybody's got a different idea of what a smoothie can be. Personally, I like a sort of drinkable smoothie. That's why they were half coconut water. Like we would crack the coconuts open on the truck, and so they were all made with fresh young Thai coconut water.
And so fresh coconut water, in your opinion, is a great food, right? Great choice?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's, packed with potassium and electrolytes and enzymes, and you could live off of coconut water and coconut meat if you were stranded on a deserted island for weeks at a time.
Yeah, coconut has recently and deservedly become very popular. Say within the past, 2, 3, 4 years, tops?
That's correct. In fact, there is becoming a global shortage of coconuts due to all these popular coconut water companies. And coconut farmers around the world are not reinvesting in their groves. If a tree dies, they just let it die, or somebody wants to develop their land, they just say, okay, because I'm not getting paid to grow these coconuts. And unfortunately, the larger commercial coconut water companies of the world aren't forward thinking enough to help benefit these people.
Oh, I see. I did not know.
Yeah, to continue planting or expand their farms. Or I think it's just beginning to get a toehold right now because of what's going on. I mean, the price of coconuts can fluctuate wildly.
I noticed that myself. Sometimes you go to Sprouts and you get 4 for $5. Seems like a great deal. And sometimes you go to Sprouts and the coconuts are $2.99 each. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's a wild leap, isn't it? I mean, and I'm in the food biz. I kind of get food. I'm thinking 4 for $5, great value. $2.99 each, not so much. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it depends where they come from. Most coconuts here in LA come from Thailand. And depending on weather conditions in Thailand, for instance, I think there was a typhoon hit there or something this year.
Right.
And, price of coconuts went from about $8 a case to $26 a case this past summer.
That was wholesale?
Correct.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Now it's back down to 8, thank God. Unfortunately, this ice cream that I make is made with mostly raw cashews.
Where do you get your cashews from?
About 40% raw cashews. They come from a farm on Bali, which makes the only truly raw cashews on the planet because they open them by hand. Most commercial cashew farmers superheat the cashews for a few seconds to pop the shell open.
I've heard that. Yes, I've heard that. Yes,
And for instance, you'll go to, I'm not going to name names, but you'll go to the store and you'll see a bag of cashews and you think they're raw. They're not roasted, but they're not raw either. I mean, they have been damaged by this heat.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm.
So this particular farm, the cashews come in tiny little pieces. So, they've been opened by an army of Indonesians with these little knives. And they supply some of the more popular, trendy, raw vegan restaurants around the West Side.
Which we actually have a lot of them, and I've eaten in some of them, and I'm real happy to see as many as there are. It's very nice that this kind of interest, a lot of people share this kind of interest.
Well, it's growing. People are beginning to figure it out that, if you want to live a long time and look good, you have to put good things in your body.
Well, it is actually kind of pretty simple after you kind of catch on that if you want to live a long time and look good, to quote you, and they both go together, just want to watch what you eat. It does seem very fair, doesn't it?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I'm 51. Most people think I dye my hair and I've had a facelift, but
Yeah,
I look at my friends and I'm like, oh my God, I'm an old bag. But I don't know. I'm sure genetics has something to do with it. But
what prompted you at this juncture to ask you, how long have you been involved with the food movement or the wellness movement, the exercise movement? How long?
I guess about 10 years now. It was born out of getting sober about 10 years ago.
You decided when you were younger, you just weren't real good with yourself?
Well, no, I don't think a lot of people are. And, there came a time when, finally, enough was enough. And I had to figure out what...
Well, some people never figure that out. They never think enough is enough, and they carry on, and they pass away in their 70s, don't they? I mean...
A lot of them pass away in their 50s.
That's
true. A lot of rock stars, and,
I was thinking of Dennis Hopper, managed to be real bad with himself for a long time, and made it to his early 70s. Didn't John Philip Law, he was in Barbara, he made it to his early 70s. I mean, so you can be really...
For a man, that's not too bad.
You can make it a long time. You can be bad for like 50 years, and then actually kind of...
Then it snowballs.
Make it into 70, and kind of. I'm not making a joke here about Dennis Hopper, who I happen to admire as an actor, and as a filmmaker. But I thought, man, you're just
I've
what are you
seen
thinking?
men transform like in a year. You see them one way, and they look robust and healthy, and then in a couple of years, it's like,
what happened here?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's what it does. It's a cumulative effect.
Yeah. Were you in showbiz as a young guy?
No, I've been a stock trader for many years, stocks, commodities, futures, and I finally, I got my MBA, and which I didn't really do much with. I just traded my own account for a long time, and got sick of sitting at a desk looking at a computer screen all day long and thinking, it didn't matter how much money I had at the end of the day, at the bottom of my account. How am I making my mark in the world? Like, what am I doing with my life? This is just, so what if I'm getting more money or losing money? Who cares? It's like, I always wanted to, ever since I took an entrepreneurship course in business school, I always wanted to start my own business, but I never had a vision. And, it's important to have a God-given vision in this world, because without one, you can just sort of wander around for years with, your head in the clouds.
Well, now that you're in the food business and you had a food truck, you suddenly realized this was a 7-day-a-week commitment. When did you realize that? Thinking, oh my goodness, I used to sit at a computer and wander off, and now I got 7 days a week, I'm working with this food. When did you realize that? Came that realization?
Well, the learning curve, first of all, I'd never driven a truck that large in my life. And the learning curve was exponential on all sides.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I've never, made food, served the public, all that kind of stuff, like all at once. And, the stress was just unreal. And then it's like, okay, I'm working 14, 16 hours a day and really not making a lot of money doing it. And it was quite frustrating.
And you started to lament the stock days, thinking, oh my God. Okay, wait. So you had a food truck.
It's okay. I mean, good things take time.
Now you had a food truck, and you decided.
I still have the truck, by the way.
And you decided. And what's the name of your truck?
Organic OASIS.
And you decided to do this vegan ice cream. Now, obviously, I think it's a great thing, and I think it's a gourmet thing, and I think it's a smart thing for people to eat this. But obviously, this is still very progressive thought. I mean, this is not a cheese melt.
Look, I mean, there's certain places that get it, certain demographics, and certain stores that do really well. Santa Monica Co-op, Air One.
Those are fun stores. Yeah,
PC Greens, places like that. They understand. They don't. For them, they'll try it, because I do a lot of demos. I go. We're in Jimbo's markets in San Diego all the way up.
Jimbo's is very nice.
Mother's markets in Orange County.
Mother's are great. Yep.
Lassen's in the Valley.
Sure.
Follow Your Heart. Air One.
The progressive stores, yeah.
All the way up to Lazy Acres in Santa Barbara. Lazy Acres, Long Beach now. We're about to go into 5 Whole Foods in the West Side.
And do people, let's say, for example, let's talk about family and friends. let's say you have family and friends who knew you when you ate burgers, 10, 15 years ago, whatever, and now you give them this ice cream, and then most of them think, oh, my God, we like this? Did they think this is good? What did they say?
I can't tell you how many times people have come up to my table when I'm doing a demo, and they sneer, and they look at it like, what is this stuff?
Right.
And then if I had a nickel for every, oh, my gosh, or, where's this been my whole life, I'd have $20. So,
So when people come by, what do you tell them about this ice cream? Do you say, oh, this is just gourmet ice cream? How do you sell this to someone who has no idea what vegan means and thinks, why would I want to eat cashews or something? Why?
My standard pitch is, you want to try some raw vegan ice cream?
Yeah.
And they go, sure, why not? Because it looks great. I mean, it's everybody loves ice cream. Let's face it.
That's true. They do.
And they think, I'm in a healthy store. I'm thinking, man, maybe I'm a healthy person. Let's give it a shot.
Right.
And then they try it, and then they're blown away.
And they're surprised it just tastes great.
Yeah.
And what did I say? It tastes like sherbet. What do people say to you then?
They say it tastes exactly like ice cream. Like if you were blindfolded and you tried it, you would never know the difference because the cashews are so creamy. Mm-hmm. It gives it that creamy taste, and it's all about mouthfeel and perception.
And coconut water, which I think is a truly important food, a great, great food for people, that seems to have been accepted by everyone. I can't think of any of the people who have an axe to grind in food attacking coconut. I mean, they go after natural foods guys all the time for all sorts of things that are just extraneous, but has anyone been attacking coconut?
Personally, I think most of the commercial coconut water in the market tastes like dirty dishwater, and it's
Right.
awful.
I'm sorry. You're talking about stuff in the cans or the boxes. I'm
Correct.
agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. But I'm talking about fresh coconut
water.
from the coconut,
Right.
which is truly a fantastic food.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been embraced, not exactly by the mainstream, but it's kind of heading there, isn't it?
Well, there's been a lot of debate about the whole coconut thing. For one thing, they get dipped in formaldehyde before they're shipped.
Oh, they do.
That's why they're Snow White in the store.
see.
I mean, you think about the fact that these coconuts are moist and they're in a shipping container for a couple of weeks, yet they show up Snow White. Why is that?
I did not know that. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe my viewers didn't know. That's not good.
Well,
not good.
It's not good in the sense that you probably shouldn't be handling them, but the water inside the shell is fine because the actual shell itself,
Mm-hmm.
the hardwood on the inside, is the hardest wood on the planet.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing gets through.
And they
So if you open them correctly, it's okay. But they're personally, I'm working on getting an organic source of coconuts from Thailand. A friend of mine has a buddy with a EU certified organic young Thai coconut farm over there. So
EU being European Union?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a new rule where if it's EU certified, it's automatically USDA certified.
Oh, good.
Which never used to exist. And in fact, I'm planning a trip to Bali soon so I can meet this farmer who grows the raw cashews because, the price of cashews went from $3 to $8 in 2 years.
$3
recently.
a pound?
Correct.
To $8 a pound.
Right. And then
Why?
they didn't go back down.
Why'd they go up so much?
It's a demand issue.
Oh, I
Everybody's using these cashews for nut cheeses and things of that nature, all the raw vegan.
And they grow.
food
We don't grow
places.
cashews in the United States, do we?
No.
No, it comes from
They're
India
all
and
from
Bali.
tropical, equatorial regions, mainly Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, South America, Africa, India. But you got to be careful where you get them because, like I said, a lot of them don't take great care in how they are.
Yeah,
produced.
tell me some of the downside.
To what?
Cashews.
There is no downside to cashews. Not if they're the good ones like I get.
Okay, now you mentioned to me dipping the coconut in formaldehyde, and I'm in the food biz, and I like to think I know the subject. And it never dawned on me that they were doing that. And I'm very happy you told me that and my listeners. So, and that's why it's Snow White. So, is there any way they can make mistakes with cashews?
I know. What are you going to do? The average
do they
consumer,
spray them? I don't know.
They go in, no, they don't. They're not. They're not inorganic in the sense that they don't spray coconut trees.
Yeah, they don't. Right. I didn't think they did.
It's all about making them look good to the consumer. The consumer wants to see a nice, pretty white coconut.
I guess you're right.
Probably could care less if there's formaldehyde on the outside on the husk or not. Now, you can get the coconuts with the husk shaved off. They look like cannonballs, where it's shaved all the way down to the wood. And those are the ones that I go for, so that there's no formaldehyde husk to deal with. It's just, the hardwood, all the white stuff is shaved off. So,
Where do you buy
in
those?
fact,
You
it
buy
makes
those
more
Air One?
sense because they come 25 to the case instead of 9.
Save shipping costs too.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
And where do you buy those? Erewhon? Who has those?
Well, you get them downtown, SSK.
Oh, I see. Wholesale.
You're never going to see them in the store.
No.
Not like that. No. No, those are mainly for people like me.
Food users.
Yeah.
Food,
But, so far we've only been talking about the downside of a lot of these products.
No, actually, I think we're talking about the upside. It's good. I appreciate it. This is a wellness show, and I specialize in intelligent wellness talk. And I thank you, Peter. This has been very, very good. And on these OASIS products, so you said they're pretty much everywhere.
Well, they're everywhere except Whole Foods, except we're going into 5 locations on the west side. 2,
Well, that's great.
2 in Santa Monica, 1 in Lincoln and Rose, 1 in El Segundo, and 1 in Torrance. People don't realize it, but cashews are a superfood because they contain essential minerals that your body needs to make superoxide dismutase, otherwise known as SOD. They're rich in copper, zinc, manganese, iron, fiber, protein, essential fatty acids, omega-3s, omega-6, which are have anti-degenerative properties, protect you against Alzheimer's, arterial sclerosis, heart disease, high blood pressure. SOD is probably the most potent free radical protection your body makes, other than supercharged vitamin D from the sun. So, and it's something you can't take in a pill. They've tried, but it gets destroyed in your digestive tract.
Right.
So cashews are an excellent source of a natural way to, may have your body produce this supplement.
And how many cashews a day can I comfortably eat? They're very rich and concentrated. How many should I eat a day?
Well,
1 or 2 or 3?
The ice cream sold in an 8-ounce container. It's only a half pint, and people balk at the price and the size, and they think, oh, well, gee. I've had people out in, I'm not going to name names, but people in certain parts of L.A. and Orange County say, oh, I could go buy a gallon of Dreyer's ice cream for that price.
Of course
Why would
they
I
can.
want to?
Right, of course they can.
I'm like,
So
well,
what?
it's your go ahead, do what you want to do. I don't.
Right.
It's up to you. I'm just here trying to explain, what how this could help you, or
Right. So it's another intelligent option. So once again, let's go back to this. How many? This is what you do. You're good at this. How many cashews a day can I comfortably eat?
Well, I don't know how big your stomach is, but
it's monstrously big.
I would say, a couple of handfuls would be fine if they're the good raw cashews.
And what's the
or
downside?
You could just eat a half pint of my ice cream and you'd be just fine.
No, but on the cashews, I'm sure I'll be fine too. But on the cashews, what's the downside to too many cashews?
Well, they are high caloric, but the calories are healthy fats, so it's not like you're eating cholesterol or unhealthy fats. They're
right.
So they're.
Do you eat a couple of handfuls a day, or? Well,
I just eat my ice cream.
That seems very fair, doesn't it? It seems very, very fair. Did you come up with the formulation yourself?
I did not. No. In fact, the formula was from. I took over a brand called Tomberleys, which was created by a woman in San Diego, Poway, California. And I had my food truck at the Santa Monica Farmers Market one day, and my woman who owns my distributor, Vegan Traders, came to my truck and said, "Oh, hey, I used to get my kale chips from her, and in fact, I still do." And she said, "You ever heard of Tomberleys ice cream? It's a raw vegan ice cream." And I said, "No, I've never heard of it," because I've never had one that I liked, so I didn't really think twice. And she said, "Well, she's not doing well, and she has to sell the company, and I thought maybe you might be interested in taking a look at it." So I went and bought a sample at the co-op, and blew me away. I couldn't believe how good it was. And so, so I bought the company, and the rest is history. And I didn't want to buy her brand necessarily, because I'm trying to create a new brand of the organic Oasis, which hopefully will give Jamba Juice and Pink Berries of the world
a run for their money. Yeah, good for you. That seems very fair. Peter, it's been great fun having you on the show. I appreciate it. Some good, intelligent health talk. Thank you, Peter, very much. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Joshua.
Peter with Oasis Ice Cream, available pretty much everywhere, vegan ice cream. You're listening to Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.
Hi, this is Elena, inviting you to join me every Wednesday at noon for Elena's Beauty Talk and more, exclusively on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, I'm Jerry Bell of the Daz Band in New Birth. And I'm Brahima Arsalan, inviting you to join us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Time for Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics, baby. Join us as we play some of the greatest hits of soul and R&B and listen in to interesting discussions with the legends of the music. So don't you forget, join us on the Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics. You'll love it. Exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch us and listen directly at latalklive.com, baby. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk, baby. We're music.
Hi, this is Dr. Lewis Logan, inviting you to join me every Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon for Faith on the Front Line. We don't just talk about it, we are about it. That's our motto. Don't just talk about it, be about it. We highlight the issues and challenges that we face today and how faith communities and leaders make a difference. So don't forget to tune in to Faith on the Front Line, exclusively here on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio and R&B, and watch us on Ustream TV. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live. and we are more than just talk.
This is Brett Chapin.
And this is Dorothy Dillingham Blue, inviting you to join us every Saturday at noon Pacific Standard Time for our show, La La Land Talk.
Join us as we talk with some of the top talent in LA. Artists' untold stories, your phone calls, and live on-location broadcasts have made La La Land one of the best sources in LA for everything entertainment.
So don't forget to tune in to La La Land Talk.
Exclusively on latalklive.com.
You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com.
Saturdays at noon Pacific Time. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/LaLaLandTalk, Twitter, twitter.com/LaLaLandTalk. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live.
And we are more than just talk. I think we've got a Shakespeare monologue or two we could do. Yeah.
Jazz hands.
Kickball change.
Good
That's
stuff.
what I'm saying. Mm-hmm.
I'll do some Pippin.
Ooh, yeah. Some miming. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. I'm in a box.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. My guest is Steve Ryan, who's written a book, Beat Your AFIB. Heart health problems are quite serious in the United States. Problems with fibrillation are problems that occur very regularly with some people. Steve Ryan, welcome to Here's to Your Health.
Thanks for having me, James.
Sure. And what was it that prompted you to write this book?
I had AFib, and I lost my job. I couldn't exercise anymore, and I locked myself in a medical library and read for 6 months, trying to figure out how to get this thing cured. And through my research, I found that 2 doctors in France, in Bordeaux, had discovered how to cure this. So I went over there. I was their first U.S. patient, and I was cured 15 years ago, and I spent so much time trying to find out how to get cured and how to read all these medical jargon periodicals and get information from them that I said, I want to write something that everyone can understand, that makes sense, and that gives people a clear path to show how to be cured.
Okay, and now for my listeners, what is AFib?
Atrial fibrillation is a heart sickness where the upper part of your heart starts beating on its own, as many as 300 to 600 beats a minute. If you feel your pulse when you have AFib, instead of a boom, 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 you're getting bum, 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 bum. You're getting a very irregular heartbeat and a very fast heartbeat. What's happening in AFib is normally your upper part of your heart will squeeze down and push blood into the lower part, and it'll go to the rest of your body. In AFib, instead of that pushing down movement, the upper part of your heart vibrates, fibrillates, quivers, and blood doesn't move down as well as it should. So you feel sick, you feel lightheaded, you feel dizzy, you start sweating, your heart hurts, your chest hurts. A lot of things go wrong that indicate that you're in AFib. And it's very disturbing, but the most important thing for your viewers and listeners is AFib can be cured. And an attack of AFib is not immediately life-threatening. You're not going to die if you have an attack of AFib.
And I noticed in your book that you have a PhD. Where did you go to school and in what subject?
I got my PhD in Educational Communications from The Ohio State University in 1974, a long time ago.
Oh, actually, in that case, you look younger than you actually are.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, good for you. So obviously, so you must be following your own advice because you look very healthy. So what is it, and I'm sure this is multifactorial, but what are some of the things that contribute to AFib?
If we knew what really caused AFib, we could probably fix it much easier than we can today. We can get rid of the symptoms, but a lot of times we don't know what causes AFib. It has something to do with aging, because as people age, they tend to get it more. 1 in 10 people over 80 will develop AFib in their lifetime. Sometimes AFib, we know, comes from high blood pressure. Sometimes it comes from after surgery for a heart disease. All of a sudden they'll develop AFib because of all the stress and strain of the surgery.
In other words, the scar tissue and
Yes.
medical errors
Yes.
and also destruction of microcirculation.
Yes. High blood pressure, for instance, will press on your upper part of your heart and will put strain on it. And the same way with aging. Aging will cause your heart to get stiff and fibrotic, and that will cause what we call the pulmonary vein openings to be irritated. That's where most AFib comes from, the 4 pulmonary vein openings in the upper part of your heart.
And so it's your, based on your research, AFib is multifactorial in origin? That is, many
Yes.
things to contribute to it?
Yes.
And is the cigarette smoker more prone to it?
Absolutely, yes.
And what about the heavy consumer of alcohol?
Yes, alcohol is a definite trigger of AFib. A lot of AFib cases that go into the emergency room come on weekends when people are binge drinking and things like that. And alcohol is a definite trigger of AFib.
And what about the use of processed sugar?
That I don't know. I really haven't seen any studies linking processed sugar. But in general, the better lifestyle you have, the more healthy you are, the less chance you have of developing AFib.
So if AFib can sometimes develop from the cigarette smoker or the alcohol drinker, can we say, broadly speaking, that AFib indeed is an allergic response? And or a sensitivity response, if the word allergic is somehow too strong a term?
I don't think we have enough knowledge of AFib right now to say that definitively.
Right. Even without saying it definitively, is it a possibility that it's an allergic response?
Oh, absolutely. And it's also maybe a genetic response. It runs in families.
And so, were you incapacitated by your AFib? You lost your job? Or you
Was I
retired?
ever? Yes, I had to go on disability leave. I couldn't run anymore. I'm a really enthusiastic runner, and when you can't run anymore, it's just...
Are you running now?
Oh, yes, indeed, yeah.
Can I ask how old you are? Can I ask?
I'm 72.
Oh,
and
good for you.
I just got
You look very healthy. Good for you.
Oh, thank you. I just got a first place in the long jump in a master's track meet.
Good for you.
I'm
I'm a pretty good judge of how old people are, and you're sitting right across from me here in the studio, and I thought you're like 64.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Okay. And I'm a good guesser, too. I'm not a flatterer. I'm a good
Yes.
guesser. Okay, very nice. You look good. Obviously, you follow your own advice.
Yes. Once I got AFib, my life was destroyed. And so I went over, as I said, to France. And all the procedure to cure AFib is very simple. It's, the needle that they use to take blood. They use the same type of needle and put it in your groin, in a vein in your groin, run a catheter up into your heart, and burn off these spots, these hot spots that are producing these extra pulses. Very simple operation, low risk. It's not risk-free, but it's very low risk. And I've had, would you believe, 5 of them. The first 3 shouldn't count because in 1997, the people didn't know what they were doing, and they were just practicing on me. So,
Well, that's exciting.
yes.
Well, you're a good sport anyway. I wouldn't want anyone practicing on me. I want to know what they're doing. So in the 90s then, you were a runner in the 90s as well. You were a runner?
Oh, yes.
And your weight was the same as it is now?
No, I'm a little overweight right now.
You
but
were
I'm
lighter in the
basically
early
the
90s.
same. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So you in retrospect, you would say of yourself that you were a healthy guy. You were not an abusive kind of guy.
No, not at all.
So
not when I had AFib, no.
You were not a cigarette smoker?
No.
Did you drink any alcohol in those days?
Beer once in a while. That's
Like
about
once a
all.
year, twice a year?
No, not
so,
that
so
much.
really, not very little
Once
alcohol.
a week, maybe.
Okay.
Yes.
And is there anything that... So what can you tell my viewers now that you know based on the book on AFib? So besides that procedure, what are some of the lifestyle things that people could do? They could stop smoking cigarettes.
Yes, that would be good. They could lead as healthy a life as possible, but unfortunately, you can call it fate or karma or genetics. We just don't know what to do to really prevent AFib. If we knew, life would be much simpler. We know how to cure it, we know how to fix it, but we don't know how to prevent it.
And this surgical procedure that you had in France, has this been picked up worldwide now?
Yes, it's everywhere. There are thousands of doctors here in the United States who do it now.
And what's it called again?
Catheter ablation.
Catheter ablation.
Yes.
And so, let me hear it once again. What does it do exactly?
They open up a vein in your groin, run this catheter up the vein into your heart, burn off the hot spots that are producing, or burn off or isolate the hot spots that are producing the extra pulses, and that's it. You're fixed.
I see. And what about other markers? Does your cholesterol change? Does triglycerides change? Does your blood pressure change? Does anything else change?
Your blood pressure may vary a little bit. It may improve or it may go up a little bit, but nothing else changes because it's an electrical problem. It's not a plumbing problem. You know, cholesterol and triglycerides, that's a plumbing problem. This is
That's actually a fair way to put it. It is
Yeah.
a plumbing problem,
Yeah.
for sure. And this is electrical.
Yes. And like, for instance, one thing we know, athletes tend to get it more, especially basketball players.
Really?
Yes, because somehow it has something to do with height. We don't know exactly what the rationale is, but basketball players have to be very careful about getting AFib.
We're talking about basketball players, men who are retired in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. That we're talking about. We're not talking about 20-year-olds.
No, we're talking about 30-year-olds, let's say, 30 or 40-year-olds who play basketball and who are basketball players. Sometimes it happens when they're young. AFib rarely occurs in the young, but it does happen.
And so now I would say that today, many people feel that playing football, the head trauma is so severe that maybe it's not a good game for a lot of people to play. And that's something that if you said 10, 15 years ago, people might have criticized you. And now they'd say, well, okay, maybe there's some research that really supports that. Maybe a lot of people say, yes, we think this is really a bad thing. So is it possible there's some sort of aspect of basketball that contributes to this?
Oh, no, I doubt it. I think it's the type of person who plays the game. They're tall. And it seems that height has something to do.
But they're tall and superb athletes in
yes,
great
they're
shape.
superb athletes, yes.
Where's the downside there?
The only thing I would say is, they work so hard that maybe they put pressure on those pulmonary veins and maybe they irritate their pulmonary veins. But I'm speculating here.
Okay, it's a fair speculation. After all, you're the author. Okay. And since I have a food orientation, and I find that food is an important healing tool, what have you commented on about food in your book, Beat Your AFib?
The first thing I recommend for patients is to make sure they get enough magnesium and potassium. And if they don't get it in their food, get it in supplements. Because almost everyone that we found who has AFib is deficient in magnesium.
And how do I get magnesium in my food supply?
I recommend, I can't guarantee what foods to take, but it's very easy to get magnesium supplements and take them.
Well, yeah, okay, that's magnesium supplement. That's great, like magnesium citrate, etc.
Yeah,
but
right.
What food has it? Like nuts has some magnesium. Nuts, I think.
Yes, you've got me there. I'm
grains,
sorry.
I think? Okay.
I can't tell you that. I should have looked that up before coming here. I'm sorry.
And I guess alcohol washes trace minerals like zinc and chromium, etc., out of the body. Maybe it knocks magnesium out and might contribute to AFib in some way.
Yes, and any kind of like digestive problems, diarrhea or something will knock out your electrolytes and you'll be deficient
in magnesium and potassium?
Yes.
And let's do potassium now. So I get potassium where?
Well, I personally take potassium out of a bottle and dump some in my orange juice.
All right,
to make sure that I get enough
a potassium capsule
yes.
or powder or something?
Yes, it's a powder.
All right, and you feel this is, and so you're still an athlete now.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and you find that taking potassium helps you?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you didn't take it, now you feel better taking potassium? Could you do more running? Is that it? You get more endurance out of yourself? What do you see?
Well, I do a lot of things, and I can't identify one particular thing. But certainly magnesium and potassium are bedrock for good health, any way you can get them.
What about the supplement that's very popular, CoQ10, and one of its forms called ubiquinol? Is this helpful?
Yes, that is very helpful. CoQ10, taurine, L-arginine, all these are very helpful for heart health in general, and CoQ10 especially for atrial fibrillation.
I see. And so you went over there in 97 to France.
98.
98. And you were one of the first Americans to have this surgery procedure done. And do the French pay for this? Is this part of their health system? Do the French pay for this? Is this a government thing? They cover this?
At that time, no. But basically, the costs were so inexpensive for me going over there that my insurance paid for it without a problem.
No kidding.
In fact, all I had to do was translate the French bill from French into English for them.
Were you teaching at one of the universities in the United States?
I used to teach at Pepperdine University.
I see. And what was your subject at Pepperdine?
Communication arts.
Communication arts. All righty. And so your insurance actually covered you when you went to France?
Yes. It didn't cover the expense of going over there, but it covered the hospital stay and procedure.
And how long a hospital stay was it?
It was 12 days. And then
oh my goodness, that's a long time, isn't
it?
it?
Yes, it was. But I had one. It was funny when I walked into the hospital. I was AFib free. It's like taking your car to the garage. So they could not get me to go back into AFib, and they spent days. And I was doing things like jumping up down stairs and doing all sorts of stuff. And finally, I went into AFib, and they could identify where it was coming from. Now they don't have to do that. Now they don't need to have you in AFib when you go in for a procedure. They have other ways of finding it.
Well, this is actually pretty interesting. So is this now widely done and not controversial at this point?
Yes, it's widely done. It's perfectly accepted. It's done everywhere. If you go to my website, afib.com.
afib.com.
Yeah, afib.com. It will list all the doctors who are doing this procedure by state and city, and it'll give their address and phone numbers. And there's many of them. There's thousands of them.
And can I actually ask kind of a broad question? So what's the cost on this?
I'd say around, it varies depending on facility, but I'd say 15 to 30,000.
15 to 30,000, wow.
Yes.
And these days, they can do it in 1 or 2 days? They don't have to be in the hospital for 12 days?
No, they do it in one day, and you're out the next, you're out either that evening or the next day. After the procedure, you have to be still for about 6 hours to make sure that where they put that needle in heals properly.
They put the needle
in your groin, in a vein in your groin, yes.
And they snake it up to the...
Yes.
That seems like it could be a little painful, couldn't it?
No, for most people, there are no nerves in the veins and in the heart. So it's a painless process. I had my procedure wide awake. I had no anesthetic whatsoever.
Oh, my goodness.
But what they do is they prefer people to be awake. But if you're not reacting well, they'll put you under.
I see. Yeah. And you continue to run now?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And how many miles a day do you do now?
I'm not a big distance person. I'm a sprinter. So the maximum I'll do is a 5K, but then I'll do really intense sprints, 100-meter sprints as fast as I can.
Well, 5K is very nice. There's nothing to sneer at.
Yes.
So you do sprinting because you just happen to like that as a sport?
Yes, exactly.
What other sports do you
do? Mostly track and field. I throw the discus. Those are really the only. Track and field is really the only sport I do.
And you said you're going to be 72.
Yes.
And you're throwing discus and you're running. So I think most men who are 72 or women who are 72, they can't do what you're doing, can they?
No, that's for sure.
They just haven't taken care of themselves.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate.
Tell me something else about the book that you need to tell my listeners.
2 important things. You're not going to die from an AFib attack, and AFib can be easily cured. In fact, you can take it to the bank that you will be cured. That's the most important messages of the book. And what the book basically does is gives you a roadmap, a plan how to be cured. It goes through all the various treatments. You make a choice. It tells you how to find the right doctor. It tells you how to ask the right questions of doctors. And it gives you hope. At the end of the book, there are a number of stories of people who've had AFib and been cured. And every reader will identify with at least one of those stories. And I think the important point of this book is not just that you give facts, but to give hope.
And Steve, where can we buy your book?
BeatYourAFib.com, Amazon.com. Those are the main places.
Are they selling it at the Pepperdine bookstore there?
No, they're not.
Oh, they're not. Oh my goodness, I have to get off from Pepperdine.
Yes.
Well, Steve Ryan, thank you for being a guest on Here's to Your Health. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It was fun. You've been listening to Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.
The American Heart Association's Heart Walk is coming. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring your coworkers. Help yourself and those around you to live longer, healthier lives. Form a team today and walk to help the American Heart Association defeat heart disease and stroke, two of the nation's leading killers. For more information, visit heartwalk.org.
Hey everyone, this is Richard Carr, Business Relations Manager for LA Talk Live. Did you know social media produces almost double the marketing leads of trade shows, telemarketing, direct mail, or even pay-per-click ads? And that about 46% of all online users count on social media when making that ever-important purchase decision. Hey, if you feel lost when it comes to social media, Top Tier Media can help you. Top Tier Media specializes in social media management and blogger outreach for beauty, fashion, health, and lifestyle brands. To learn more, go to www.toptiermedia.com. That's www.toptiermedia.com. Top Tier Media, the official social media marketing company of LA Talk Live and the Talk Live Broadcast Network. Young Connection, your one-stop connection for all your graphic design and commercial printing needs. Young Connection is a full-service printing and media design company dedicated to providing the highest level of customer service and satisfaction. Young Connection provides swift response and rapid turnaround services for banners, brochures, business cards, letterheads, church bulletins, funeral programs, flyers, logo design, posters, and much, much more, all at an affordable price. Young Connection, the official printing company of LA Talk Live. Give them a call at 310-491-3336. That's 310-491-3336, or visit their website at www.youngconnection.com. That's www.youngconnection.com. Young Connection Printing and Media Services, proud sponsors of LA Talk Live, where it's more than just talk.
Hi, this is Elena, inviting you to join me every Wednesday at noon for Elena's Beauty Talk and more, exclusively on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Starlet Quarles, and I'm inviting you to join us every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for a new show right here on LA Talk Live, The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. Join us as we discuss the topics that are relevant to today's generational leaders. So don't forget to tune in to The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People, every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. It is my great pleasure to introduce my listeners to Tommy Hawkins. Tommy Hawkins, a first-round draft choice for the Lakers. Tommy Hawkins played for Notre Dame, played basketball for Notre Dame, and Tommy Hawkins was captain of the Notre Dame team. And Tommy Hawkins has, for 18 years, was an executive with the Dodgers here in Los Angeles. And now he does jazz shows and keeps active and has just written a new book of poetry, which he's going to read from today. It's a great pleasure to have Tommy Hawkins in studio today. Mr. Hawkins, thank you, sir.
Josh, good to be here with you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm actually very pleased to be here. And so is the staff and management. They're thrilled when I told them Tommy Hawkins was here. And so
they say, is he still around?
They knew exactly who you were. They were thrilled to pieces. So you've had success as an athlete and as a broadcaster,
yes,
as a business person.
Yes.
I know that you are very fond of jazz and, like Dave Brubeck and Cannibal Adderley and...
hung out with them all.
Yes, you hung out, which must have been fun in the 60s when you were a young guy playing ball.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very definitely. My thing is get involved and stay involved. And a lot of people who are sitting around, they get to be my age. You didn't ask me what it is, and I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
But
that's fair.
That's fair. But and they say, well, we don't have anything to do. There's so much out there. I got a call from Aaron Zucker. Tommy, can you do Josh's show? Right. I said, hey, I'd love to do Josh's show. So I get up in the morning and I figure out which way I'm going to go. I don't sit around, and this is a part of poor health on the part of older people and retired people. They don't stay involved.
Right.
They got to stay active.
No, I completely agree with you. And when people start to get older and they start to get a little depressed, they tend to isolate themselves, and that actually is really worse for them. It's bad, as it turns out, health-wise.
Yeah, it is, because you're in a state of degeneration anyway. That's what age is all about.
Right.
So you have to counteract that. Like you were talking about my interest in jazz. I recorded this morning for 4.5 hours.
What station are you on?
No, this is just for me. I have recorded over 800 CDs, compilation tapes, all kinds of music. I'm working on a thing right now called introspection. And that is music that will force you to sit and listen to it and get into where you're coming from. And it'll remove you from a lot of the tensions that are around. Because we're all in a hurry. We got to hurry up. We got to eat. We got to do this. We got to go there. We got to hurry up and get to the couch and sit there and look at football for 6 or 7 hours. Right.
Of course, football is fun.
Yeah, but it's you've got to get out and you've got to do things. This summer, I worked at a basketball camp at Malibu High School to help me. In the past a year and a half, I've traveled the nation and I've done over 90 speaking engagements.
No kidding.
Selling my books.
Oh, my goodness.
Out there. And people, and I got stories that you would not believe. I can do stories. 2.5 weeks ago, I was in San Marino at a speaking engagement, standing room only at this mansion. I spoke for 2 hours telling stories. Nobody even got up to go to the bathroom. because I was laying Tommy Lasorda, I was laying Elgin Baylor, I was laying Bill Russell, all kinds of stories. I have been blessed with having this eclectic life. I consider myself a cosmic functionary. My counselor said to me, "What the hell's a cosmic functionary?" I said, "It's a person who functions globally, regardless of race, creed, or color, or social circumstances." I am out there.
Well, you have had the good fortune to have had enormous success in athletics, for sure. You were
Yes.
the first-round draft choice.
Yes,
Now,
for the Lakers.
That's a lovely... I mean, you were the first choice in 59. I mean, like... And then before that, you were captain of the team at Notre Dame.
Exactly.
And then, of course, your broadcasting career was very successful and national. So but let me ask a question about your mom and dad.
Yeah.
Were your mom and dad athletes?
My dad was a football player at a place called Haven Institute in Meridian, Mississippi. But my dad was not in my life after I was 6 years old. So I owe everything that I am and my success to a mom who devoted her life to seeing that I had the things that I needed and I could move on comfortably and do the things that I needed to do. And I had mentors in my life. Bill McQuitter, who was a black All-American at Xavier College in New Orleans. Eddie O'Farrell, who was my high school coach at Parker High School, was also in Chicago, a surrogate father. Johnny Jordan at Notre Dame. Father Theodore Hesburgh, one of the most important men in United States history. All of these people have been mentors to me. So when I graduated from Notre Dame, if I didn't play 1 minute of basketball, so be it. I was ready to be a man in a man's world.
Was your mom a school teacher?
My mom ran the food services division for the Borg Warner Corporation in Chicago.
Borg Warner, their industrial